Well, I was born at a party in a barn with a guitar strapped across my arm. So I learned to play in a different style. Everybody knows that I'm hog wild.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling. Cut the tap.
Hello and welcome to the Hogs Happy Hour here on 4-Star Sports Media Network. I'm your host Blake, and I'm joined by my co-host Jason. Jason, how's it going?
It's going good. Getting closer to the start of football season, but that could be a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, we are almost exactly 2 weeks away with the Hogs starting on Thursday. So almost to the hour, to the minute of being 2 weeks away. So before we get started, as you know, y'all are gearing up for buying tickets and planning trips. Okay, if you go to SeatGeek, make sure you use promo code 4-Star Sports Media to receive $20 off your first order. Okay, so I know there's a lot of football tickets out there on SeatGeek, so make sure you use them. So first we want to talk about this, I don't know if we'll call it a civil war or NIL battle, in-state battle between the two of the three casinos we have here in Arkansas. It's Oaklawn versus Saracen. If you don't know, I'll try to catch you up just a little bit. I guess it was last week. Carlton Safa, who's the chief marketing officer for Saracen Casino in Pine Bluff, which is just right up the road from me, put out some graphics of things he had ready to roll out regarding NIL money. And basically it was like a 50-50 raffle. He got the idea from Canada, actually. They use it up there for their hockey games where people would, win 50% of the pot and the other 50% would go toward something. So what Saracen wanted to do was to give that money to not just Arkansas. He's done a bunch of radio this week, not just Arkansas, but all the in-state universities. That's A-State, UAPB, UAM, OBU, UCA, all of them. He wanted to give that other 50% of the raffle to those universities for NIL money. And if he was following the Canada plan, it could have been close to maybe $500,000 a week to these universities. Split it up between all those universities. But something about there's some illegal stuff about it and all this. Well, come, what was it, Monday? I think you texted us Monday or Tuesday.
I can't remember.
Yes, one of them days this week, and Sam Pittman tweeted out that he's thankful for Oaklawn for donating to the Razorback Foundation. Well, that money that Oaklawn put in is not, I guess, directly going toward NIL. It's going toward the foundation. So it's not what Saracen was wanting to do with that money. Saracen knew that someone was blocking their plan. Rumors are someone on the board of trustees is in big with Oaklawn. They told Saracen that we have enough NIL money, we don't need any, which is, I don't know who would turn down money, You can never have enough of it. So I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? That's kind of what we know. I'm sure there's more behind the scenes, but we're
I think
we're not involved with that.
To me, it's more of a political kind of move than anything. To me, it just seems like Oaklawn doesn't want to compete with Saracen. Saracen had ideas for online table games. That's where a lot of this is coming from. They're trying to make that legal in Arkansas. He's saying that we're losing out on a lot of money for people who are using offshore websites to do online table games. Oaklawn doesn't think that this needs to happen. So to me, this seems more of just Oaklawn not wanting to compete. I think what Saracen wants to do is great because it's not only just for the University of Arkansas; it's for all schools in Arkansas. Um, I'd see nothing wrong with the plan that he's introduced. Um, I just can't believe that somebody from the university would say we don't need any more NIL money.
Yeah.
Me and you both talked. It's just some fishy things. There's a lot of people that seems to be in Oaklawn's pockets around up in Fayetteville. Um, Unfortunately, now it's starting to turn into a national news. I will give Saracen credit. He is not backing down from any of this. Even as of today, he is still fighting for trying to get stuff passed through and able to where they can give money towards different NIL collectives.
Yeah, he's kind of acting like a politician. As you said, it's all about politics
Yeah.
because he first went on Inside Arkansas with John Neighbors, and then he went on Hit That Line Arkansas, ESPN out of Fayetteville, and today I saw he was on the Whitehall radio station. So he's kind of making like a radio tour
Yeah.
of trying to make sure no misinformation gets out there.
Yeah, and good, good for him. But unfortunately now they're starting to turn people into thinking he is a crazy psychotic person now.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he's sticking up for what he believes needs to be done in the state.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the money Oaklawn donated is great. I'm sure the university has a plan for it, and
Yeah, but unfortunately, I mean, they're only donating 500,000, which
yeah,
is, and
yeah,
apparently they need a lot more than that to keep up with what they have.
yeah. I think it was Deion Sanders. He said, a five-star quarterback cost about $1 million. So I mean, it's gonna help. Now I know we have failed on the again. We've that I don't even know what it's called anymore. The Edge, I guess, is what it's
Yeah.
called. It's apparently not doing great. Has the whatever the first NIL plan was called.
What I thought was funny, Oaklawn come out and said like, yeah, we need all businesses to contribute to NIL just to make everybody make Arkansas competitive. Well, what's funny is your competitors trying to do some great things, and here you are potentially blocking it.
Yeah, and Saracen, Carlton, he even came out and said that he's not against helping,
Yeah.
combining forces to help. It just seems like Oaklawn wants to be, beating their chest, saying, "Oh, look what we're doing," and not trying to get, Saracen in on the deal. I mean, they could, if you think about it, they both could, they generate a lot of money, you know, and they could both donate a lot of money to all the athletic programs, not just football and basketball.
Hmm. But I mean, it's starting to look like it's more of a political uh, campaign versus anything.
Yeah.
It just seems like Oaklawn just doesn't want to compete with Saracen casinos with them wanting to legalize online table games.
Yeah, I don't forgot where I saw it, but it made perfect sense in my head that Oaklawn is like your brick and mortar store, whereas Saracen is more of like your Amazon type store.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
Oaklawn's been around
yeah,
forever here in Arkansas.
hmm yeah, and I use both of them. I use Oaklawn. I bet on the ponies, and Saracen I use it for the sports book. I mean they both have their good and bad. It's just Oaklawn I feel like just trying to beat their chest of saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, we're number one." When actually in the sports betting world, they were the last casino to even have a sports book.
Again, they don't want any competition. They're used to being the only
Yeah.
pony in town.
Yeah, for the longest time, that was the only casino.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that and I don't really include the West Memphis one because it's literally in Memphis. If
Well,
you ever been up that way,
I mean, Legends has one in Russellville, but there's no physical
yeah,
casino there yet.
yeah. I heard well, it's kind of off topic. I heard Jerry Jones might be back and having some ordeals with that too, but it wouldn't surprise me. But again, I just wish, I mean,
I wish these
if you go
companies
to
would just come together.
yeah, especially it's right when football season starts. It's
Yeah.
unneeded drama that I'm sure Pittman and some other coaches are having to answer, and they really don't have any answers because
Well,
they're
yeah,
not
it's out of
probably
their
involved
control.
with it. Yeah,
Well,
it's not their doing.
well, Saffron said that Yurchek and Pittman, they were on board for it. It was somebody inside of the foundation.
Yeah.
Which one of the lawyers that represents Oaklawn happens to be a foundation member,
Yeah.
who also happens to be a lawyer for the governor.
Yeah, I saw
It's
something about the governor.
so it's a political thing.
Yeah. And what Saracen wants out is these China companies. Like you can legally download an app on your phone and play table games. Like
And that's
from
slot
China.
machines, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's legal. What
Hmm.
Saracen wants is that to be illegal, but you can do it through apps. Through the Arkansas casinos.
Yeah. He wants to keep the money here in Arkansas. He doesn't want it
Yeah,
to be going overseas to those
yeah,
casinos.
yeah. And apparently the reason they do it so China can steal your data, but that's I don't. Your data's out there anyway, so it's
I
not.
mean, they just had a huge leak of pretty much everybody's social security numbers here recently.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's just a big political battle. I mean, thankful that Oaklawn did donate, so maybe
Yeah, I mean, it is
save
something,
them some of
but
it.
it's ultimately it's Arkansas companies hurting
Yeah.
Arkansas
Yeah.
programs.
Yep. And again, not just Fayetteville. It's
No.
every university that has any type of athletic team.
Yeah, that's the good thing I liked about Saracens, where Oaklawn is just U of A
Yeah.
only.
Yep. And
These others,
Saracen has like on their sports book they'll have specials like for A State and UCA, whereas Oaklawn really doesn't.
Hey, I guarantee these other smaller schools in the state need help.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
This
do you think UAM has a lot of donors that donate
no
to NIL?
no no
Do you
they
hear anything out of Arkansas State about NIL?
no no. But they could at least they could have something something in their pot to help out. All right, going to football news. Okay, just happened today. There was a scrimmage today, and if I usually watch all the press conferences, once they happen, and Sam Pittman was pissed about today. If you need to, just go to YouTube and watch it. But here's just some notes from it. The offense had eight interceptions. Okay, but four of those were from tipped balls. He said there was a lot of penalties. He said offensive line was garbage. Protection wasn't good. He said Taylor Green played well for what he had to work with, but he just wasn't as accurate. But I will say Petrino, earlier in the week, he said that he wants his quarterbacks to start taking some chances. We don't know, but maybe those interceptions were just he was trying to fit it in a tight window and it just didn't work out. But eight interceptions is not good.
I want to say some of those interceptions were players who typically run on the third team defense.
Yeah. So it was not good. So but he also said Talon, it might have been a Petrino thing, but Talon did not run as much as he did in the first scrimmage. Now the first scrimmage was great for the offense; it was wonderful, but this scrimmage not so much. But at least it gives them some film to look at.
And also, talking about the scrimmage today, field goals. Matthew Shipley was 3 for 4 on field goals, only missed one from 38 yards. But Kyle Ramsey was 0 for 4 on field
Yeah,
goals.
yeah. Now
And
Pittman did say that Ramsey has a groin injury, but he said he's not making excuses for him.
but I mean, the offense did have some pretty big plays still. I mean, it's not all
Yeah,
doom and gloom.
yeah.
Uh,
He said the offense won, so I mean,
I mean,
it was
Braylon
good.
Russell had a 30-yard run and a 25-yard run. Uh,
Yeah,
Rashad Dominion had a 30-yard run. Just kind of looking at some of these stats from
yeah, yeah,
Jordan Anthony had a 65-yard touchdown reception.
yeah,
So I mean, it's not all doom and gloom. Yes, there were a lot of turnovers,
yeah.
but the offensive line is still dealing with some injuries right now, and they're still kind of shuffling some players around. Uh,
Yeah, and I'm worried about Kudus because they've been kind of quiet on him. But Pittman even said today it's either going to be this Monday or the next Monday before he's even back at practice. So
I know
he's
he keeps
dealing with
pushing
a
it
back
back.
injury. Yeah, but you don't obviously. I mean, you want him for the long run. You don't. You could care less if he plays against UAPB. So
Well, yeah, I mean, but this sounds kind of like same thing happened last year.
yeah,
We had a player dealing with a stinger injury all season. When he come back, he just wasn't the same. I mean, he's transferred out now, but
yeah, and I'm sure everyone's had some type of back issue. It doesn't really. I
yeah,
mean, it takes a long time to get over it. Um, so with Kudus out, he said Marion Harris is actually might be one of the starters maybe against UAPB. He didn't
yeah,
really say.
it kind of
So
surprised me.
that's good because Harris has he's been around for a long time. So maybe he finally get his chance. But
Yeah,
shout out to the defense though. I mean that's going to be the question mark all season. So sounds like they showed up. You know, so Landon Jackson had 3 sacks today. So I'm sure he might have had more. In scrimmages you know they have a quick whistle. So he might have had more than what they said. But I think Landon Jackson's going to be, I mean, a for sure NFL draft pick, at least in the top 3 rounds.
I mean, Arkansas should be glad that he come back this year.
Yeah, yeah. And he said the defensive line is pretty much set at the 2 deep. So um, I think Arkansas does have probably one of the top 5 defensive lines in the SEC. I think it's underrated. It's a very good. I mean, got about 7 or 8 players that could get some pressure, stop the run. So I feel good about the defensive line. It's just those young linebackers that I think everyone's worried about.
I mean, I didn't expect the defensive line to really drop much this year at all. It's
Yeah,
just that secondary that's kind of questionable. But
yeah,
every year, every single year, that's always our questionable
yeah,
area. It has
yeah.
been for a long time.
But with a good defensive line can help out a bad secondary because if you get that pressure on the quarterback. So
I mean, let's be honest. Let's go back to the Houston Nut days. We didn't have a super great secondary then.
no,
You had a
no,
few
no,
small guys that played with heart, that
yeah.
played well, but
I'm just reading through my because I took some quick notes on the scrimmage here. He did say that so there's going to be 2 more practices in camp before school starts on Monday. Schools. I mean, they're starting pretty late this year, but that's just kind of how it is. So they get 2 more practices in, and then school starts, and that's probably going to throw the practice schedule off a little bit due to classes and whatnot. But yeah, sounds like Pittman didn't say that Shipley's going to be the kicker, but honestly, that's probably who's going to be the kicker. It just makes me nervous. Now he did win the game, quote unquote. They had 2 seconds left, and he made a 50-yarder to win the game.
Yeah.
So that's encouraging. But what's not encouraging is missing a 38-yarder.
Yeah. Like I said, I think we're really going to miss Cam Little this year.
Yeah, shout
'Cause
out to Cam for the Jaguars.
I mean,
Shout out.
he's going to be starting for him.
Yeah.
He'd be the starting kicker.
Yep. He almost made a 60-something yarder in the preseason game.
Jacksonville. Them kickers drafting them early.
I know. He kicked. I mean, he made every extra point, and the Jags defeated the Chiefs. Hey, watch out. It's just preseason, but
I know. Let's not forget the Lions went undefeated in preseason and didn't win a game in this regular season.
But I tell you, it was really encouraging to see Pittman really pissed off. Yeah. It shows me that he cares.
Yeah. Ultimately, his job is on the line this year. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. There was no more. Oh, I don't know. He was giving answers. Like I think honestly, I think he's really mad about the offensive line. About not stepping up. So.
I mean, that's your bread and butter. So you recruited the guys that are there.
Yeah. So, just something I thought. Seeing the scrimmage. People talk about we're the only SEC school with all the returning receivers, and got Taylor Green. He was a highly sought after transfer. You got pretty good running back group. Tight ends would have had a freshman All-American if it wasn't for injuries. And the Bobby P effect. Do you think people are overreaching on the Bobby P effect? Like, is he really going to help that much?
I think they are. I mean, undoubtedly, our play calling will be better, but you still have a weak spot that it's an offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And with that weak spot, how much can an offensive coordinator work with? A lot of stuff depends on you got to get a running game going. Well, it's hard to get a running game going when your offensive line can't block anybody. You want to attack deep down the field. It's hard when the offensive line can't hold their blocks. I mean, there's only so much an offensive coordinator can do. Can he maybe try to work around that? Yes, but how successful would that be?
Yeah, I think obviously against the first game, it's like a glorified scrimmage. So, no offense to UAPB, but I think they know that. So, but it'll be good work for both schools.
Yeah, and let's not forget Bobby Petrino's not the head coach. He doesn't have the final say in what happens.
Yep.
This is not the Bobby Petrino that was here as a head coach. Is a completely different Petrino back then.
Yeah. Now he's still fiery as ever though. He'll still dog cuss you out, but he's not laid back, but he's cut back maybe 1% of what he used to be. But he'll still get after you.
Oh yeah. But you see some practice reports talking about maybe it's the wide receivers are struggling or maybe the safeties are struggling. Well, my thought is always if the defense is doing good, our offense is going to be terrible. If the offense does good, the defense is going to be terrible.
Yeah, which is kind of what we expect. But
I mean, you can't go anything off these scrimmages.
Yeah.
I mean, you practice against a bad squad, you're not that good.
Yeah. And I know the players are tired of going against each other. Even Bobby Petrino in his press conference, he said that that the defense is catching on to their signals. So it's like they know what's coming. So but that's what you get when you practice. It is what it is.
I mean, there's nothing you can do about that.
All right. So speaking of Bet Saracen, I pulled some. They have some player stats, season stats. So Now you couldn't choose over or under. You just had to, you had to bet your money on this. So Landon Jackson over 49.5 tackles, and that's the key part, and over 6.5 sacks. This is again according to Bet Saracen. I would take it because it doesn't say that it has to be an SEC play.
Yeah.
I feel like he might get some of those in those non-conference games easily.
What was his 2023 stats?
They're about average. They're about what that is. So, but I think there's 12 games. Can he get
6.5 sacks last year?
Yeah. Can he get at least a sack in every other game? I think so.
I believe this is a better defensive line too as it was last year. I think he can definitely get over 6.5 sacks for the whole season.
Yeah. So I would definitely, if you're the bet person, put that. Now I don't bet on the season totals, and just because it's too much to keep up with. But all right, going to Mr. Isaiah Satania, over 499.5 receiving yards and over 34.5 receptions.
That's a tough one. I mean, last season we didn't really see much of Satania actually play besides kickoffs or punt returns.
Yeah. Now I know Petrino, he likes to feed the studs, and I think he knows he's one of his studs. So I think he will game plan around him getting the ball. It's just the matter of fact of the players making executing the play.
Oh, for that one, I'm gonna have to. I probably wouldn't take that. I would probably take the under on that.
Because I feel like our receivers are decent enough that they're going to spread it out. It's not just going to be a one-man show. But I tell you, in practice, he has looked phenomenal.
It's just hard. I mean, hard to gauge that one based off him being here last year. Just he wasn't utilized much last year. That's probably almost the reason he almost transferred out. Probably.
Yeah, I'm glad he stayed because of course another thing we ain't talked about. There's a lot of injuries we got. Broden's been out.
But apparently, everything is minor injuries according to, which, interesting enough, now the SEC requires actual injury reports.
So that'll be interesting for especially if Nick Saban was still in the league. He will ain't no telling what he will put on there.
Yeah, there's no more waiting till kickoff to realize that so and so's not playing.
Which is fair.
I mean, it's fair. I mean, NFL does it.
Yep. Next one is the freshman, Braylon Russell. Okay. Over 199.5 rushing yards and over 4.5 rushing touchdowns. This is a tricky one.
I can maybe see that happening.
I could see the touchdowns. I'm not so sure. I mean, it's literally like a talk. Like you could see it happening, and then you're like, maybe not, because of Jackson and DeBinion, But Russell's a huge kid. I think he's pushing 250.
Today's scrimmage, he had 55 plus yards today.
Yeah. And I feel like down there on the goal line, he might be that power back. He might get 7 touchdowns and 150 yards rush, something like that throughout the season. I don't know.
He'll get a lot of that during UAPB game because they're going to want to run the ball just to run that time out.
Yeah, which was it? I think last time we played UAPB, we modified the quarters or something to shorten the game.
Oh, I have no idea.
I want to say that's what it was because they were up 42-0 maybe at half. Or it was something crazy. And then last one for individual stats, Taylon Green over 2,499.5 passing yards and over 399.5 rushing yards. The rushing
I wouldn't
yards,
take that. Yeah, rushing yard. I can see rushing yard, but those passing yards are what's getting me there.
I think
can he get 2,500 passing yards with this offensive line?
Yeah. Got to be some quick slants coming out of there.
Yeah, you bump up those rushing yards from that.
Yeah. Some 3-step drops real quick and make sure the defensive line doesn't get to you. Now, this is one we talked about last time. Total wins, Saracen has at over under 4.5.
I got us over that.
Yeah, I think I want to say not easily, but I feel like we can get 5 easily.
I
I mean that's
I
4
think I have.
non-conference.
I think I had us at winning 6, maybe
Yeah,
7
so I
ish.
think I don't think that's
That's
bad.
4.5 is doable. I mean, you
Yeah,
get usually 3 quote unquote cupcake games.
yeah, and then yeah, so if you just get 2 squeak 2 out on your
Because I mean,
preseason bet,
if you only get 4 wins, Pittman's gone before the end of the season.
yeah, and then Petrino takes over and
You get 5 or 6, maybe he stays
yeah,
or retires.
to Lake Hamilton, right?
Oh, which is where?
Oh, Hot Springs,
Oh,
Oaklawn.
and what's in Hot Springs?
Yeah, the ponies where they race, the racetrack. Who also Sam Pittman, he was in the winning like suite of the Kentucky Derby horse, which has UAM ties to it. But and this one's interesting. This is one that SEC wins over under 2.5. I'm thinking
Over.
this Mississippi State. That's one.
Yeah. I mean, Mississippi State's going through a pretty big overhaul right
Yeah,
now.
which I mean we kind of I mean
We
we're kind of
always
even,
are.
I think, but I think Arkansas can beat. We can beat them. I think LSU. You can sneak up and get LSU.
I mean, that's always a close game, but that's going to be
Yeah,
close.
and it's gonna be that third one. You're going to really, upset somebody.
I
Could be.
think our biggest upset this year would be Missouri.
Yeah, end of the game or
End of the year, I think that would be our biggest upset.
Yeah, and another David Basil made up rivalry.
Well, I mean, he's such great at making trophies. I can't wait till he does one for Arkansas and Texas. What's he going to do? Put the 2 states on there?
Just take the outlines of the states and plate them in gold. It seems to be a great trophy. But honestly, I think this Mizzou is actually turning into a rivalry very slowly.
Just because we keep losing.
Yeah, and Drinkwitz keeps mentioning stuff about he's trying to get it going, mainly because he's beating us, but also because he's from Arkansas. So, but I don't know if I would touch that one. I mean, I can see 2 for sure. Not even for sure. 1 for sure. 2 maybe.
What about A&M? I mean, we play A&M so close at Jerry's World.
Yep.
That's all you can almost call that a toss up there.
Yeah. And also the rankings came out. I think Oklahoma State is 17.
17. Yeah.
So that's your first big opponent. By
2.
the time they play them, it might be different, but
Yeah.
right now it's the number 17.
The only thing we got with that, we got a few extra days since we play on Thursday.
Yeah, which is good, but got that travel day.
Yeah. Well,
and
it's not that far.
I know, but luckily, you sent me the picture today that War Memorial's gonna have some hydration station.
They're still gonna run out of water.
Even though the game's it's still gonna be hot. Don't get me wrong. Even though it's at night.
Yeah. It's still very humid right now in Arkansas.
Yeah. I know their high school benefit games are about to open up, and I remember, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, where they had to take those mandatory timeouts, after 6 minutes or something. I feel like that's going to be the start of this season. Maybe pushing the time back a little bit to maybe 8 o'clock. Just trying to
keep everybody safe.
I know. I mean, I don't know how it is up there in the River Valley, but man, it is. It's an oven down here.
It's 99 today with high humidity.
Yeah, we
Glad I work inside.
we had a fire drill at school today. Outside for that 3 minutes, it was not fun. So,
Fire
I can't
drill on
imagine
day
playing.
on
Yeah,
day 4.
yeah, you gotta you're required to do it once a month. So go ahead and get it over with. All right, so that's next week will actually be like on preparing for game week. Be 7 days away. Again, it's on ESPNU at 6:30, I believe. If my memory's correct. So, cousin Shane from that SEC podcast, he calls it University of Peanut Butter, UAPB. So I don't know how much we're paying them, but I'm sure it's probably the Oaklawn money is going to go to them, if not more.
Well,
Good.
interesting enough, I don't know how Oaklawn's going to do that with NIL with the money going straight to the foundation.
Yeah.
School doesn't pay out NIL.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm sure their name will be on a building or something. I don't know, but
They'll take Saracen out of the end zone where their
yeah, I mean, yeah,
advertisement is.
Saracen's already, they are. Actually, I want to say both of them have sponsors. I haven't paid too much attention to the sponsorship, but
I don't remember seeing Oaklawn like on the score by the scoreboard sponsors.
Yeah. Now I know, in baseball they're behind the Saracen is behind the catcher, and at the ribbon boards at the basketball games and football games they're on there. So, but that's I think that's gonna wrap up this show. Thanks for everyone joining us. If you haven't followed us on our social media accounts, check 4star.live. There's a great interview Wes Pruitt did with Natural State Sports, which covers high school sports in Arkansas. So talked about that media day that they had. So it's so check out 4star.live, where the sports buffet. I think they're gonna be on tomorrow, but if not, just go in there, check out all the shows this week. I think we're 4 stars pushing out 6 shows a week. So, and we're gonna try to do some more post game type shows, especially at the end of college. That Saturday in college football. So be sure to check that out, and be sure to use promo code 4star Sports Media on SeatGeek to get $20 off your first order. All right. So, anything else, Jason?
No. Well, next week we'll get ready for a game week.
Yep, we'll break down the golden lines of UAPB. So, should be should have quite a few Arkansas athletes, former high school athletes on there. So it'll be fun to actually look at their roster and see how the makeup of their roster is, and maybe they have some former big-time D1 players. We don't know, but we'll break all that down next week because it's technically game week, and the week after that we'll have technically a pregame show for the Little Rock game. Probably lead you up to kickoff, right up to kickoff, and give you enough time to go get something to eat, find a spot on the couch, and hopefully not fall asleep during the snooze fest. All right, until next week, we'll see you then.
Yeah.